Hey guys, Frightener22 here, welcoming you back to another installment of At the Movies. It's about 1:30 a.m. on a Monday night here in New Jersey, and I just got back from seeing Shutter Island. And this is one of the most anticipated movies for me for 2010, and I've been following the production of this movie ever since it got greenlit, and I've been really hyped to see it. I was like especially really bummed to see that the release of this movie got shifted from October and all the way to February, so it was really like an extra added long wait, but the wait was totally, completely worth it. I fucking loved this movie. This was fucking phenomenal. Scorsese at his absolute best. Now, for all you guys that haven't caught, a teaser or a trailer or a commercial spot, here's pretty much the plot of the movie in a nutshell. It takes place in Boston in 1954, and it centers on a character by the name of Teddy Daniels, played by Leonardo DiCaprio. So he's a duly appointed federal marshal, and along with his partner, played by Mark Ruffalo, they go to this island, what has come to be known as Shutter Island, to investigate the disappearance of an actual criminally insane murderess on the island that's just pretty much evaporated off the island. So they're sent in to investigate the disappearance of this patient on the island. So that's basically the plot in a nutshell. Now, as I had said, I fucking loved this movie. It was so tight, just very suspenseful, beautifully shot, incredibly acted, and incredibly well written. Now, although I didn't get a chance to see this on the day of release like I had anticipated, I knew that I wanted to see it immediately. But over the weekend, I was just, not that I pay attention or give a shit about reviews, from people that are considered, experts in film and, all the people that review movies for a living and shit. I don't pay attention to that, but I go, of course, to reliable sites that are run by, average Joes like myself that, pretty much actually have decent opinions on it. And not that those would guide or influence my decision to see a movie no matter what. I was just, curious to see what the general idea, the general, vibe that people had for the movie throughout. So, doing some investigating over the weekend, I was actually somewhat disappointed to read that a lot of people thought that the movie just never really took off for itself, and it just kind of fell flat overall. I don't know what fucking movie that they were watching, because the one that I saw completely and totally rocked. Now, as I had said, the great, amazing Martin Scorsese directed this film, and if you guys don't know who the fuck Martin Scorsese is by 2010, then you clearly have been living under a rock and you have no goddamn business going out and considering yourself a film buff. This guy is responsible for Goodfellas, Taxi Driver, Bringing Out the Dead, The Aviator, The Departed, all these great, wonderful films, and Shutter Island is just another masterpiece to put underneath his belt. Now, of course, going into a Scorsese film, there's always a certain expectation of greatness to be held, and Shutter Island does not disappoint in that respect. You know that there's always a certain quality of greatness and, just real delicacy and superb quality that comes with any Scorsese production, and Shutter Island is just amazing in all those aspects. It is beautifully shot. The score in this film is to die for. Just very epic and very suspenseful, and really just, puts, crazy butterflies and a lump in your throat, just keeping yourself on the edge of your seat. I mean, the score was a major influence on me throughout the whole film, and a huge contributor as to why my jaw was hitting, the floor the entire time. This film is just so crazy suspenseful, and just, it's very noirish in the sense. I mean, I almost got a sense of films such as The Black Dahlia from 2006, and although I was never really particularly fond of that film, I think where I kind of connect those is just mainly due, in fact, to the time period that it's set in. There are, of course, it's a few, 10, 15 years off of what The Black Dahlia was, but that atmosphere and that spirit is certainly there and prominent. So I like that. I really got into the spirit of this 1954 Boston atmosphere, and, it works really well in the film. Now, let's talk about the cast in this wonderful film. As I had stated before, it's headlined by the wonderful Leonardo DiCaprio. I don't care what anybody says. I've been a DiCaprio fan for years and years, and although, he would even go, and I've heard him say in numerous interviews that, the 1997 flick Titanic could have easily broken his career, and although I think that movie kind of, shit the bed you have to look at all the things that DiCaprio has done over the years, and he really has given incredibly quality work from his younger years all the way to becoming one of the best A-listing adult actors working today. I mean, the films he's done over the years, such as What's Eating Gilbert Grape, The Aviator, The Departed, Gangs of New York, just all of his collaborations, especially with Scorsese, have just really, allowed him to rise above the ranks in, the A-list category. But in this film, he is 100% superb. He has a, incredibly haunting look in his eyes. And as the film just kind of progresses and goes on, you really just kind of see this character just kind of dwindle down and become more and more haunted as it goes along, and you kind of lose sight of whether is this guy a good guy or is he just becoming another crazy loon. So the visual representation of DiCaprio mixed in with his acting chops is stunning. It's really a damn shame that this film didn't get released during the time of October to be fresh in people's minds for Oscar season, because I would go as far to say that I think that DiCaprio, should have been considered at least for an Oscar this year, had in fact the original October release stayed intact. I really think that DiCaprio was really that fucking great in this movie. Now moving on, you also have the slightly underrated Mark Ruffalo playing his partner in this. Now, I like Mark Ruffalo, and I think that he's done some pretty quality work, but this certainly isn't one of his best performances. He just, he kind of comes into the film, and he has this great gravity and balance that complements DiCaprio's character really, really well. But I really do think that Mark Ruffalo's greatest work is still, years ahead, and he's got plenty and plenty of years to really perfect, his acting chops and whatnot. No discredit to him in this film. I think that he did really well for what it was, but I think that what Mark Ruffalo is, I think that he still has yet to make his big, big mark on Hollywood, but I certainly will be around to catch it, because I think Mark Ruffalo is certainly an underrated actor, and I think, his best work is still yet to come. Moving on, you have the great Michelle Williams, who plays a brief role, but a very, very memorable one. Her beauty and, again, just, the briefness of her role just brings a really, delicate and great gravity to the role, and she's really, really stunning in it. So I was really excited to see her in the cast, because she is one of my favorite actresses working today. Moving on, Scorsese got this really great blend. I mean, with any Scorsese production, he always manages to get, of course, a wonderful cast together, because, I mean, after all, who the fuck doesn't want to work with Scorsese? But in this film in particular, I mean, you have the great, A-list talent of DiCaprio and Ruffalo and Michelle Williams, but he gets this great vibe of people, such as, old-time workers that have been in the business for a long time, such as Max von Sydow from Exorcist fame, playing a brief role, but just somebody that just has this great depth and this great amount of body of work in film underneath their belt. And then you have these great appearances of people like the guy that played Buffalo Bill in Silence of the Lambs plays a brief role in here. Elias Koteas plays a role in there. Many of you guys might remember him as Casey Jones from the original 1990 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. He's the guy with the slit across his face. And in the trailer, I kept telling people, holy shit, it's an uncredited De Niro role. I fucking swear to God, it's an uncredited De Niro role. But of course, lo and behold, after further investigating, I just found out that it's Elias Koteas. But when you see his scene come up in the movie, you're totally baffled as to, the striking resemblance between him and De Niro at certain times when he's looking at the camera. It's really, really great, and his role is certainly really creepy. Moving on, you also have the great Jackie Earle Haley playing a brief role, and if whatever he gave in Shutter Island is any indication of what he's going to give to Freddy Krueger in the Elm Street remake, then I'm completely 100% there all the way supporting his interpretation of Freddy Krueger. To end things off, I would just like to say I heard a lot of people saying, or at least a few people in their reviews over the weekend saying that this is actually Scorsese's, the best way to describe this film is that it's Scorsese's Shining. And if people that have been living under a rock, Kubrick is, The Shining is one of Kubrick's masterpieces. And I will certainly go as far to say that I agree with that reference. This is certainly Scorsese's Shining. It definitely, wanders off the course of the mafia gangster route that, Scorsese has been loved and, known for. This is just something really, really great and suspenseful and dark, and scary. So I really suggest all you guys get out and see this film. You guys cannot be disappointed. Frightener 22 gives it his seal of approval. Check it out, guys. I loved it.